Hello everyone, welcome back to the video. So Ascent Taipei is finally in the books. With that, our first ascent of the MRC season is finally all wrapped up. It was a 238 player event, so pretty big, about on the average what we're seeing from these Ascent events. We, like I said, had our winner, so for those who haven't been up to date on anything, spoilers are going to be in this video, so keep an eye out for that. And then I will preface this video ahead of time saying all these prices will be pulled from TCG Player. TCG Player prices have been insane lately for cards. If you're able to, I'm going to put a link in the description, as much as Mitch is going to hate this. Linking to the Merlin Mitch Market Discord. Discord has a lot of sales, a lot better prices than what you're seeing in TCG Player. So make sure you check out the link below, join the server, and make sure to go ahead and try and maybe get some cards through there. A lot of people are selling and making good deals. But with that being said, let's go ahead, go over the event. I'm going to break this all down here below. As you see, MHL is the winner. But with that, we're going to go ahead and go into all the decks I brought. We had simply about 52 list, I want to say. 52 decks, sorry. Tristan 43, Lorraine about 43 decks, Xander was in about 33 decks, Merlin was about 22, Rai itself was in 17, Tanaris was at 16, Diana 7, Arisana 3, and 3 Nico decks. The element breakdown that we have here is about 100 fire, 79 wind, and 25 water. These don't really count right now because the way Omniac set up for those that are normal Sylvie, so just keep that in mind. So probably assume the rest of these are normal spirit or slime spirit lists. In advanced elements, we had 51 playing Terra, 43 playing Crux, 42 1 Umbra, 15 Arcane, 12 Luxem, 7 Neos, and 2 Astra. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go into our top 8 list with the winner MHL. So MHL's list here is up. We had Spirit, a win, Lorraine, level 1, level 2 Lorraine. Backup charges, I think in all these decks, it's not backup charges, probably one of the best cards of the game, especially in your opening hand. You go ahead and draw your 7, you can play down your first 3 drop card. Then first material is get the backup charger, put your remaining 3 down from your hand, and get that draw card of the memory punch, start with a fresh hand at the start. So backup charger has been a really, really good card. Grand Crusader Ring, Ornamental Greensword, Prototype Pistol. Prototype Pistol is interesting. There's the fact you can use the gun with Lorraine, you can materialize it with Lorraine. And with something like Wind Piercer, you go ahead and load it, get the on attack trigger, because on attack is not a class bonus. And you get the glimpse on it and get to deal about 4 damage with the gun versus 1 or 2 with the sword. So sometimes it does push that little bit of extra damage. Safeguard him in there for the burn decks, smoke bombs to get around some interceptors and taunters, sword of seeking to get around some stealth, and terrifying to deal with anything that's ally heavy. Going into the main deck, you have 2 charge mannequin because of the fact that you get a battery powered cell from the backup charger, 2 deflecting edge keeps stuff alive, 4 gildas, 4 lurking assailant, and 4 ace and protector. One of the newer cards that we see now with MRC is Androka. Comes in, gets class bonus, gets 2 buff counters on a couple of different Tamajon, which in this case you have Charged Mannequin, you have Armored Valkyrie, you have Cell Vanguard, and where's the other one? There is one more, Shimmercook Assassin. So you have a couple different cards that go ahead and get hit with Automaton, as well as Eternal Magistrate. Fun to keep Eternal Magistrate alive for a little bit longer. So you have your Armored Valkyrie in place, another 2/2 drop. You don't get the Retaliate on 2 because it is a Guardian class bonus, not Warrior, but you do get Steadfast with it. You can buff it with Androka. Self-Guard Vanguard, you get some power cells as well as Floating Memory. Dream Fairy to deal with some annoying allies. Eternal Magistrate, one of the better cards that we've seen coming out. This card's been going up in price a lot recently. Pretty much been putting in work. It comes in imbued. If you could bump it, that's great because it becomes a 2/4 if you use something like Androka. And then the fact that your opponents can't materialize cards unless it's from the materialize phase. Really just on cards like Diana. You can set down cards like Dungeon Guide, Increasing Majesty, technically Tristan, Shadowclaw. There's a couple things that you can shut down with this card as a whole. So this card's been really, really good in putting in work, but it's also 2 because it is an SR. You don't really want multiple because it's a little bit awkward. 4 Fairy Whispers, 4 Fable Winds, good draw and good float. 2 Hurricane Sweeps to deal with some ally list. 2 Rally in Advance to go ahead and get in an attack with 1 and untap one of your bigger units that you maybe buff with an Androka and maybe pumped it with a Power Cell. 2 Reclaim to get sort of keep your units alive as well as another Floating Memory. Shimmercook Assassin Supplies, again, so one of the best stealth units in the game. 4 Stifling Trap to deal with stuff like Storm Slime. You could deal with stuff like Dungeon Guide with this. You could deal with you really don't want Ace and Protector, but you can if you want to. There's a couple other cards I'm drawing a blank of that it's really, really good against, but Cypher Trap is really putting in work. You could technically shoot a Sadie with it because it still does 2 damage even doesn't on enter. So the card itself is a very good kill spell in Wind. And 4 Rain Rider Vanguard for the 2/3 drop Vigor. And the Cybertooth, I Argus, who had to get True Sight to go ahead and kill a couple of stealth units. Charge Mannequin if you're really playing more into the ally heavy and get a lot more power cells. You have 4 Surfer Crew in here for the intercept if you're doing something that's rushing you down. You need a little bit of the extra damage negation. And 4 Train Hawk again to deal with those True Sight or stealth units, I should say. But congratulations, MHL. Congrats on your first victory of the season for Ascent Taipei. Congrats. And we're going ahead and go check out deck number 2 here, which with that is going to be TCG Cabins list. So TCG did put out a video. I'm not going to go too much into this. Make sure you check it out. I'm probably going to link in the description here, so make sure to check out True Champion Gaming's list about their win Tristan. So in Tristan, you have Spirit of Wind, Tristan 1, Tristan 2, Shadow Dancer, and Shadow Reaver. I imagine, and I could be wrong, again, I have not watched the video yet myself. I'm doing this all before that, so I could try and give my little bit of insights on what I think how this deck is interacting, and then TCG video probably explains it better than I do. Shadow Reaver Tristan I think is really good because the fact that it comes in, I imagine it's probably used for more of the water matchups, maybe a couple of mirror wind matchups, and maybe the Merlin. Because the fact you can go ahead and banish 4 off the top, I found this really good when I was testing this deck myself. And do stuff like water list or water temple list, because stealing 4, I've stolen Song of Frost, I've stolen Fracturize, I've stolen Frostbinds, I've stolen a whole bunch of good cards that really just hurt my opponent in the long game. So this card can go ahead and get tremendous value as the game goes on. And you have Backup Charger, again, one of the best cards in the game right now in your material deck. And considering Poison Dagger, you get a whole bunch of extra damage, especially when you're flooding the board out or using something like Shadow Strike, you just deal a whole bunch of damage that's unpreventable. Safeguard Amulet, Terrafang, Windwalker Boots to go and get those prep counters, and Shadow's Claw. In the main deck, you have the 4 Dungeon Guide, which is a staple, 2 Incapacitates, really good counter spell for 2, Mastermind Scheme. So this card has been interesting. Even my own testing, this card has been interesting. I can see why it's in here. It's in here because you get a big Shadow Strike. If you're falling behind a board, you can keep on redirecting. Go ahead and use Mastermind Scheme and try and gain more preparation counters to keep on redirecting your attacks to your Ominous Shadows. It's interesting. I'm not sure how often it comes into play. I'm really curious to see how often it does, but I like it's a good, give me a good card. Stable Remnant, a good card that's a 2/1 for 2 for Floating Memory. Pretty much a better Honorable Vanguard, technically speaking, if you have the class bonus. You have Forest Sadie, the Blood Hunter, probably one of the best cards in the deck. The card is really good, getting the on-kill agility 3 and then being able to bounce it for your hand or preparation counter. You just keep on cycling this card through a lot, keeping it alive. You can always, in response to them trying to kill it, do pay no 2 again, they go ahead and bounce it again as well. So it's going to be really, really interesting. One Turbocharge because you had the backup charger. This good 3 jump to draw 3. Cards the Outlook, get a preparation counter, prevent your opponents from playing their own stifling traps, or cards like Frostbinds or Song of Frost or anything like that pretty much sets up your combo turns as well as your win turns. And starting freeze to bounce a bunch of allies if it's sort of becoming a flooded board state. 3 Fairy Whispers, 3 Innovative Agilities to de-level and re-level. You could do this a couple times with stuff like, say, Shadow Dancer or Shadow Reaver, depending on the interaction you want to do. So you can go ahead and go back down to Shadow Reaver, and then you can go ahead and go back up to Shadow Dancer again, get another draw 2, as well as go ahead and put a preparation counter and get 2 more Ominous Shadow tokens, go ahead and flood the board with Ominous Shadows and get a lot of Shadow Claw strikes. You have 4 Reclaims, 1 Scout the Land, card gets you just a good card, looking forward, draw a card, better Idle Thoughts. 3 Shimmer 3 Sirocco Operators. So this card's been interesting. Testing it, this card is really, really cool. It has a class bonus on it to draw a card in the memory. And then on preparation card, Chrono Automaton, which is itself. Or technically, if you have another Sokorok, not itself directly. If another one of him or a Shimmercook Assassin, you get to also gain a preparation counter. So as that preparation counter you're trying to gain, especially in the early game, you're trying to hit 4 for the Tristan Higher Blade. Sphaler Winds, really good card. Draw a card, replace it itself, get a preparation counter if you want to use this fast speed if you're level 1. This card is tremendous value. 4 Veiling Breeze to deal with sort of any form of combat. And then you get to deal with Windmill Engineer, just a card that gives you, go ahead and put 2 down, draw a card with it imbued, and then you can reclaim it if you want, get the Floating Memory grave, use the Floating Memory level up, and then just Windmill Engineer again. And then Shadow Strike, go ahead and close the game because the fact gets a preparation X. Shadow Strike gets X because of preparation counters. It becomes unblockable. So 4 plus 5, 4 plus 6. How many? If you maximize game, you get to double it, you get to 10. It's really just a way to close the game out really quickly. In the sideboard, you have Incapacitate. Deal with probably a whole bunch of different ally lists or something, in more likely the mirror matchup. 2 Resolutions to deal with the allies. Slice and Dice to deal with a couple of faster lists as you go ahead and try and race them down. 3 Arrow Traps to deal with something like a deer. 3 Conjuring to deal with Erupting. 1 Crazy Outlook to deal with probably the Water Temple list. 1 Instant Frames to deal with the ally list, and then Siphon Trap again if you have something that's coming in doing a whole bunch of fast levels, maybe like Arcane Rye. Bringing the Siphon Trap to prevent it is pretty well valued. Then I'm going to Shadow and Power Soul Token. Again, I'm not going to break down this list too much. I think this list is really interesting. The list has been fun. I'm playing it myself for testing. It fits in my tempo. It's a very controlly deck, I feel, but also has the switch I can flip to go and go a little bit faster if you wanted to. Like I said, check out the link in the description. I'm going to link over to TCG's video on this deck as I go over their deck breakdown or deck, or however they call it. I'm drawing a blank on how they call their videos, but make sure you check out that link. Going to deck number 3. In 3/4, we have Ascent Taipei. We have Megalobana, which is Spirit of Fire Y. Pretty much a ride list we're expecting. Backup chargers in the main here. Running the regular Spirit of Fire to draw the 7. Again, it's really good in the opening turn. You can play a card and then backup charger if you want to. Raining Resident Bobble and Bobbles are in here to draw some extra cards. All the Bobbles, Grand Ring, Tome of Sacred Lightning, and not running the Tyrant Storm Eye, or not running anything that Terrafring or preventing cards with, say, Safeguard Amulet. You see Safeguard Amulet in the sideboard. But pretty much is going to go ahead and bank on stuff like Peace Reunion, Resolute Stand, and then you have stuff like Vanishing Light to try and deal with the Atlas and not trying to bank too much into the Terrafring. But those is pretty standard. You have Careful Souls, you have Dungeon Guides, you have Peace Reunions, Resolute Stand, Scratch Skies, Turbocharge, draw some extra cards so you don't have the backup charger. Then you run Creative Shock, Disintegrates to deal with something like Twilight Slime if they only have one of them. You can go ahead and deal with cards like Deer, so go ahead and deal with a couple things, or even something like Beast Mod Boots. Fireball, Increasing Danger, all this is pretty staple. 4 Arcane Blast, 4 Arcane Disruption, 4 Arcane Sight, 4 Radical Bolt, 4 Spell Arcane, and 4 Voltic Spears. This one's not running Dive the Stormcaller, which is why this is going to be a little bit different. It's not running Power Overwhelming, so this is pretty much heavily banking on banishing a whole bunch of arcane cards out of its own grave, and then going ahead and try and cast the cards for its overall value, or use something like Voltic Spear to get the banished discard to get levels up that way as well. Super interesting card. Super excited for this card. Not this card, just this deck. Really excited to see Rye back in the top meta. Pretty much what we talked before. Rye's probably one of the tier 1 decks as we've been seeing. And they're taking 3/4. I'm not sure how its other matchup lost. They did lose to the number 1 winner. I'm not sure how the games go, but it was a 2-1 victory for the Wind Allies player. But we're going to go ahead and go into the 4th deck here, which we have Raylem. Raylem is going to be running on a Spirit of Slime list that we talked about before a few times on the channel. We have the Beast Bomb Pause in here to gain some True Sight. Backup charges in here, Quicksilver Grail, Covenant of Thorns, Guy's Blessing, Horror Beast Calling, Storm Band, Infinite Scepter. Everything we sort of expect at this point. Not running anything at extra level. You run the Baby Gray Slime, 1 Beast of Friendly to get the Vampiric Slime Cleaves if you want. Dungeon Guides, Engineering Slime, which is interesting. The fact is you have a backup charge for the Power Cell. So you can sacrifice to get a buff counter if you want it, and then it can get Spell Shot if you want, so make it a 3/3. Skip the Wreckage, you're going to bounce some cards back into your memory, as well as draw cards. Pretty much way to save against some of those on-leave interaction triggers that you can see with stuff like, say, Green Slime. Then you have Force Cake, buff, draw card, Limitless Slime, Turbocharge because you have the 1 Power Cell. Baby Red Slime to go ahead and discard cards into your grave to level up stuff, say, like Slime King and Slime Eruption. Baby Blue Slime, prevent next 2 damage. Gather Slimes to heal while you're healing. Baby Green Slime is going to suppress target item Regalia, which could be, say, something like Power Cell if you really need to. It's a little bit harder in times because some of these cards are in activation as well. Sacrifice it as part of the cost. Then you have 2 green slimes to get the buff counters, 3 slime shields, 4 storm slimes, which is pretty much your main win con, 4 through slimes to banish as well as draw a card, 2 lusher slimes to make a big taunter, pretty much with on death recover. You don't get to attack with this anytime because you're not running anything in here, I don't think, that gains you an extra level. So you have to be a little bit careful with that because none of this gains you an extra level. So you have to go ahead and just pretty much use it for the big taunter and recover ability. Slime King just to get a whole bunch of cards you can go ahead and put down, and then you can get the on leave bonus with something like Escape the Wreckage. And then Vampiric Slimes to get that class bonus on hit recover ability to go ahead and heal some health. This is an interesting take on the slime list that we've been seeing. Overall, it's pretty much the same shell. Baby Blue is a little bit newer in this list as a whole. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It could be good, could be bad. It keeps your luster slimes alive longer if you want, if you try to make a big taunt you, especially with stuff like Verdant Scepter. Pretty much with the Verdant Scepter, they can make a big unit and then make it hard to deal with unless they physically bounce it versus killing it. But into the side, we have Viridian Protector for the water matchups, Beast of Friends for the cleave, Blanche for the burn list, Incapacitate. Not too sure what's in here for. I guess you could deal with a couple different action cards, maybe something that burns. So Incapacitate could be not bad if you have the hand size for it. Reprogram to deal with the ally list, Resistance deal with the Ago, and Himaga's Grace to go ahead and glimpse the draw card. And then you go ahead and get a couple extra abilities with that. But with that being said, congrats to Raylem getting the 3rd and 4th place slot. I don't think they played it out looking at the Omni decks, so keep that in mind. TCG Terry. We went over this list basically. It's the same list all across the board. Again, check out their video if you want to go ahead and break down the list. I'm not going to go over this list entirely again, but congrats to Terry and the TCG guys for getting 2 people into the top 8 at this first Ascent, and I can't wait to see you guys over in Chicago. Egg, placing in the 5 to 8 slot, we have a Spirit of Fire Merlin. Pretty much everything is the same. This is the hybrid Merlin, so you have the Lorraine 1-2, Merlin 2, Lorraine 2, and the Merlin. Good job, Blade. Pretty much the list that we expected before. Nothing too new in here. You're still running Honorable Vanguard, the library, which is reprograms to deal with the ally, robot ally list, Scratch Guys, and you have Star Wars Shootmates. Greatest Shock, Creation Rituals, Fireball, Flame Sweeps to get the board wipe, Flame Restorement, Hasty Messenger, Chilling Touch, and Skyr Essence to go ahead and into the Spirit Blade Ascension loop, especially if you're playing Lorraine. and then try to get the hammer out your opponent's memory and then draw and deal damage that way. This is pretty much the standard Lorraine list or hybrid Merlin list, however you want to call it. Safeguard Aim on the side here for the burn, Verdant Protection for water, Blanche for again the burn list, the mirror, Resolute Sands for allies, Scry Disguise, probably if you're going to the Merlin list more, Disintegrates to deal with opponent's Merlins, Burn should deal with something like Scepter, one Cruxite, and one Incarnate Magistrate, probably brought in if you decide to play more of the Merlin focus than the Lorraine, if you don't have to go with the hybrid actual version anytime soon. So really interesting list, really interesting take. This is if you're expecting a lot of allies or expecting a lot of aggro, this is pretty much the list that you're going to want to be bringing into your events. If you're playing more Lorraine, not the bring all event into allies, but it's pretty much a list that's tried and true into the allied matchups, and especially at the start of the Ascent or start of a meta, I should say, you expect to see a lot of these aggro lists as a whole. So this list doesn't shock me of seeing it come out. Pretty good across the board. You're going to flame sweep the board. You're going to go ahead and sometimes flame with and get some hasty messenger trades into them and try and fireball the win out. Or in this case, you're going to Spearblade Ascension, try and draw your cards into enough cards to catch a hard cast tier. Incarnate Magistrate, but again, the only get -3, I think, off of the Incarnate. Oh no, it's a Mage Plus, so never mind. So sort of run into that situation. There's not too much else to it. As a whole, really interesting. This as a whole, really interesting to see. Congrats on taking that 5 through 8th slot. Going into our second last list, we have AW5459 on Spirit of Water Lorraine. So this is going back to sort of water allies that we've seen before. All 3 Lorraines are here. Spirit Ruler, backup charger for the draw card. I said, I think literally, yeah, the only list not running, I think so far has been Egg. Is not running a backup charger. But going into this though, we have backup charger, Grand Considering, Nullify Lantern, Plated Bullet, Prototype Pistol, get a couple different, again, we talked about before, get those a little bit extra damage, so this goes and gets in there for 3. And then you can Safeguard Aim it, Sword of Seeking, and Scepter Lumia. And in the main, you have Dungeon Guides, which are interesting. This one's really going more into the heavy Lorraine level up game plan. You have 1 Pendragon in here, so you don't want to flat out too much, and 2 Spirit Dispersion to go ahead and get to banish some weapons and get some spell damage in. Then you have Steam Knight, you have Gildas, you have Inspire Card, Lurking, and Morgan. Performance expecting for Luxum, reprogram deal with the ally list. You have Savaslash to get some floating memory in there and train Sharpshooter. Quasi Chopper again to deal with the ally list. Fractalize, Freezing Hail, Frostbind, Frostborn Paladin. All this is pretty standard in Stillwater Patrol. So it's a really interesting list. Congrats AW5459 for making it into the top 8 with us. This list is really unique. I'm really curious. I have to go back and watch these matchups because I'm not too sure. This one actually has me stumped. I'm not going to lie to you. Usually you're seeing the Lorraine list go a little bit heavier into the Crux package. This one is not. This one's running even stuff like Morgan in the main, maybe expecting a couple more Luxum decks to come out. Not Front Healing or maybe Tristan Healing. Maybe they're expecting the whole tech with Innovate Agility. And I'm really interested to see how this list pulls. I'm actually relatively stumped. Then you have Cyborg Terraforming, Tithe Proc, Viridian Deflecting, another Morgan, Spiritual Core, and Stillwater Patrol. Like, I'm just more interested in the reasoning behind Spirit Blade Distortion. Because you banish your swords, then you do damage. So you only really get a Sword of Seeking with maybe 6 counters on it. Not 6. Yeah. 3 additional. So 5. Sorry, 5 counters. Maybe do 5 with a Spirit Blade Ascension. But I guess that's pretty good for later on. This 2, I imagine you just wanted more Ghost of Pendragon. So I'm really interested to see how their games came out. I imagine this has been on stream at some point. So I'm really interested to see how these gameplays played out. But I'm not going to break this one down too much because I'm really curious. Otherwise, for the most part, it looks like a regular Water Allies list. I'm pretty much trying to get the value out of playing your 3 drops, keeping 3 cards in hand, and I'm trying to use stuff like Frostbind, Freezing Hail, and stuff effectively, and trying to keep your guilds online as much as possible with the balance mechanic. But going into last list is Pro-An. We saw Pro-An at the beginning of day 2. They're running Spirit of Wind Xander. This is an aggro Xander list with only level 1 Xander with backup charges and some blades. They're running the new Mercenary Dagger. And then you have Smoke Worm, Terraforming, and Bobble. The main net deflecting edges are going to prevent some damage, keep something like Gillis Life, incapacitates a good card when you're an assassin because it only costs 2. Sparring calls are going to untap, buff your board. Lurking Assailant, Thieving Cut, and Woodland Squirrels, Ace and Protector. It's pretty much like running like a wind ally list. But instead of running Assassin for you get stuff like Quasi Outlook in here, you can run get also where is it? You have pretty much Siphon Trap come online. You have stuff like Mercenary's Blade in here, and you get Poison Dagger. So it's a really interesting list as a whole. So this is a really interesting take on the Wind Ally list. It's just as fast as Wind Allies because of the fact you're running Mercenary's Blade, Thieving Cut in here. You could run stuff like Stifling Trap, like I said. It makes it a very interesting list with a little bit of control, almost like the Water Allies that you've seen a little bit, but a little bit different because you're not running stuff like these Scepter to go ahead and get the overall value of the extra 4 damage on the level up, so you only level up once to get the Glimpse 2 on enter prep counter. You do have the Xander 2 in here if you need to go and play the extra health. If you're same for the water, then the deflecting edge if you're deflecting your allies to die a lot. I'm going to have more capacitates, a reprogram, a slice nice, and a veiling boost for doing something like burn. But this overall is a really interesting list as a whole. I'm really, I shouldn't say really. I'm sad we didn't see more of it from Pro An in day 2, but it also was a good match that you saw on the stream that they were on at the beginning of day 2. So it's a really nice list. But with that being said, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. This was the breakdown for the Ascent Taipei. We're going to have our regionals coming up soon, all of our regional breakdown videos, so make sure you keep an eye on that. Again, all the links will be in the description for Mitch and Market Discord to go ahead and try and get some good prices on some singles, better than TCG player. I don't get a kickback. This is not sponsored. Mitch, sponsor me, please. I've shout out so many things before. But shout out to that. I'm going to link TCG guys below. I'll do the video for the Wayne Tristan breakdown list. I'm going to link the on the links like in here and a couple other things. And yeah, so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope everyone had a good breakdown video in here. Let me know if anything else you'd like to see below. I have a couple ideas in the works. There's a lot of recording to do. But yeah, hope everyone have a good one, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.